Thanks, Taylor. Hey, everybody, I'm Braden Clark for Aggie TV, and joining me today is New Men's head basketball coach, Craig Smith. Craig, how are you doing?
I'm great, Braden. How are you?
You know, another day, another week, but I'm excited to get to know you a little bit better. I'm going to give the fans a little bit of an introduction of who you are and what I found on Wikipedia. So,
because everything on Wikipedia is exactly correct.
This is why I want you to nail it down if it's right or not, all right?
Perfect.
Okay. He's last year's Summit League Coach of the Year, born and raised in Stephen, Minnesota, known for punching snakes and famous for quoting,
"Yeah, there's a lot of things I could think of that would be relaxing right now. Dilly dilly."
Coach, Aggie Nation wants to know, have you learned the Scotsman yet?
I have not learned the Scotsman yet, but I'm looking forward to it. You know, during the press conference, of course, they played it. My kids had a blast with it. So when the whole family moves here, or maybe I got to have the team introduce it to me, but I will have that down sooner than later.
Yeah, don't worry, the first few weeks of the semester, it plays everywhere, so you're going to have it down like within the first week.
They just push it down your throat over and over and over again.
So the freshmen know that exactly. So you'll just stick with a bunch of the freshmen, and I think you'll be fine.
Maybe I'll lead it, except I can't sing unless I'm in the shower or in my car by myself. But I do like music, and I got a little soul too.
Can you sing?
No, I can't sing very well at all. I mean, when I sing in the car, my kids just start, doing that whole thing, or "Dad, what are you doing?" So I'll try to spare everybody, and I got to work on my accent. Like I got a little bit of an accent from Minnesota, so at the press conference I was saying eggy, like an egg, and obviously that's like the cardinal sin. I mean, I was lectured about that at the president's house.
Well, if no one else has their own way of saying it too, so I mean, it's up to whoever.
You got to put your own little personal twist.
Yeah, exactly.
On it, I guess, but right.
You talked about Minnesota a little bit. Logan is a small community, but it's not nearly as small as your hometown. Which, when I looked up, it said it was like 658 people live in Stephen, Minnesota. What was like living in such a small town?
Well, it was 908 when I was growing up, so it was like 33% bigger.
So people left as soon as you left.
Yeah, right? I told it, and this is a true story. I graduated number 2 in my class, and there were 18 of us. So when it came to the college application, I couldn't even check top 10% of the class. And it's a good thing there were 2 foreign exchange students in there as well. So otherwise there would have been 16. But you know what? It was an amazing place to be raised. It's just a way of life, right? It's a lifestyle. Everybody looked out for each other. The old cliche, it takes a village to raise a child, and that's what it was like. We could run around and play football, basketball, do whatever we wanted, run to the swimming pool, didn't worry about anything, right? And so I'm the oldest of 5 boys. My wife's the second youngest of 10, and she grew up in the same city, so our family's known each other forever. And I was just very fortunate the way my parents raised us and the whole thing, and we still go back there every Christmas. And my kids love snowmobiling, and believe me, when you're 35 miles from Canada, there's plenty of snow to go around. So it was a great way to be raised. I was very, very fortunate that way. And so you're right, Logan. Everyone keeps saying how small Logan is. Like, are you kidding me? Like, we have Taco Bell and Applebee's and Buffalo Wild Wings and you name it. So we're sure excited to be in the process of moving here and right now currently living out of a hotel.
Skiing or snowboarding?
You know what? I lived in Colorado for 5 years, and I love that. Like, I haven't fished for a long time. I haven't hunted for a long time. But one thing I did in Colorado is I hiked like crazy. I did Long's Peak, was one of the toughest 14ers to climb, and I did that 4 times. So I can't wait to start doing some of that after recruiting's done.
Yeah, of course.
Hiring a staff and the whole and getting our players rolling. But I've never, in 5 years in Colorado, I never went skiing or snowboarding one time. Can you believe that?
I can't.
No,
actually.
It's stunning, right? But I know I can't wait to do it. I mean, I got to make sure I do it after the season because odds are I'm probably going to hurt a limb. And my family's really looking forward to doing that as well. So maybe you can give me a few pointers.
I'm terrible, so you wouldn't ask me. But definitely, there's a lot.
We can go together. It might look better.
That I might have to take you up on that. Take us back to 1996. You're a senior at North Dakota University, and you're getting your degree in secondary education, from what I know. And then you take an assistant coaching job at Mayville State University. Who was the first person you contacted when you got that position?
The first person I contact would have been my wife, I suppose. I mean, I'm guessing, but I don't really remember. That was pre-cell phone. Like, we didn't have cell phones, but that's how old I am. But, that was life is full of decisions, right? And you don't always know what the right decision is or the wrong decision at that time. We always say sometimes the best jobs you get are the ones you don't get. Sometimes the best recruits you get are the ones you don't get, right? And so but you don't have a crystal ball. You don't know how things are going to work out. And I was so fortunate because the head coach at Mayville State at that time was a young man named Tim Miles, who is now, of course, the head coach at the University of Nebraska. And I couldn't have been more fortunate to learn from a guy like him, very energetic, treats people right, and then being a part of winning teams, throughout that time. And the hard part, it's the good and the bad. It's always very difficult in this profession to move up the ladder, per se, in terms of like NAI to D2, D2 to D1, low major to mid major, et cetera, et cetera. And so he certainly was the exception to the rule. I've been very, very fortunate that way. You got to get lucky with some things, but you got to just treat people right too. And one thing you always have is your reputation, right, in your character. And so I was very fortunate to learn from him. And the other thing about being at a level like that is you got to do it all. I mean, I was sweeping the floor after every game. I would call the Grand Forks Herald and let them know the box score. And every now and then they would ask for a quote, and I'm like, yes, I get to give a quote. But
they didn't have cameras.
But yeah, I mean, then I was a head coach there, and we had a great run. And I was the head men's basketball coach, but I was also the assistant athletic director, and I was in charge of raising money. Oh, wow. And so I took. I found out about this fundraising campaign, just kind of took over that thing and raised almost $500,000 over a year and a half, which in today's day, that's not a crazy amount of money, but for an NAI school back then, in a small community, it was big. So you learn to kind of get your hands dirty and go to work at a lot of different things, and I think that's really helped me throughout my career.
And you mentioned Tim Miles a little bit. You followed him a lot of different places, to Colorado State.
Too many places.
To Nebraska. And you obviously have mentioned how much he's influenced you. What has he been to you as a coach, especially as young as you are in your career?
Yeah, I mean, he's been everything, quite frankly. I always tell people, he was the youngest of five. I was the oldest of five. So I was the younger brother he never had. And he was the big brother I never had, right? And you think Stephen, Minnesota's small. He grew up in Dolan, South Dakota, which is like 140 people. Wow. Yeah, crazy. He graduated with 13 people in his class. So, I mean, yeah, I know, it's crazy. And so, but seriously, I've always had a very good work ethic. And so I've always loved sports and just, wanted knowledge, right? Thirsty for knowledge. What else can you learn? And we shared an office, and so the best thing that he ever did for me is he believed in me. And when the power of somebody believing in you, it's amazing what you can accomplish. And he allowed me he trusted me, and he knew when to step in and show me the ropes, right? And to help me out, or say, hey, what are you thinking on this? And he might look at me like, you're out of your mind, or like, wow, I never thought of that. And so it's amazing how that can impact you, right? And he just let me roll, get out on the road recruiting, doing scouts, live, at that level you can live scout, obviously watch a ton of film, and it was an amazing way to learn, right? And it's something I cherish forever. And we've had 4 stops over 11 years at every level. Mayville State, North Dakota State, where we were D2 for a year and transitioned Division I. That was a very good learning experience. Go to Colorado State for 5. And obviously, Colorado State's in our same league now. And that helped me, I think, understanding this league very well. But it was like an expansion franchise when we started. We were 0-16 in our first year. And then our 5th year, we get to the NCAA tournament, and then, of course, Nebraska. So I just can't speak highly enough about Coach Miles.
Awesome. And talking about South Dakota, they're a fairly new program in Division I. They joined in 2008, went independent, then went to the Great West and went all that way. What was it like going to a fairly new program that didn't have much success and then getting their highest win total in program history, because they had one before they went Division I? What was that, and what can you take from that experience to here at Utah State?
Well, Braden, it was a great experience. It was an amazing 4 years for my family and I. I truly believe the college experience is about the relationships that you make, and the experiences you gain, and the relationships that you make that last a lifetime. And that's a college experience for I think the guys in your program. And certainly we gained some tremendous friends, and they gave me my first chance at Division I, right? And so I'll forever be indebted to them. But those experiences are hard to replace, right? Being a head coach is a lot different than being an assistant coach. And certainly I'd been a head coach before that, but everywhere we've been, we've had to rebuild and kind of start from the ground. And now I'm excited about the players we have in our program. I think we have some very good players. I'm excited to get on the court coaching those guys, and we got to add a few pieces, but I'm excited in the direction of this program. But we're here to certainly be good next year, but to build a program. And I feel like we built a very good program. We went 49-21 over the last 2 years. We completely overhauled that roster. 2 years ago, we only had 2 players left from the old coaching regime, and last year just 1. And so we completely overhauled that. And we're just going to build this thing brick by brick. And that's the beauty of basketball, though. You start getting the right 1 or 2 players to add into the mix, and it can change real quick, right? So just the day-to-day operation, understanding where you're at and what kind of players are going to what kind of people are going to make it in Logan and have a chance to be very successful, and what kind of players really fit your style of play and your personality. And so I'm very aggressive with recruiting. I want to have a great relationship with those players before they get here, those student athletes, and I want them to feel very comfortable with me. And so we're in a day and age where, last year the transfer rate was over 800 student athletes. So you do the math, there's 351 Division I schools, so 2.5 per school on average every year transfer out. So I think a lot of that comes back to identifying the right guys and having great relationships with them.
It's funny they bring up the transfer rate, because this last week I did a whole study on how many student athletes transfer schools from their first university. Last year, over the last 5 years, and last year, there was 13% of players leave their schools. The last 5 years, Utah State has right around 43% of their players have left the last 5 years.
In men's basketball?
In men's basketball over the last 5 years. What do you intend to do with bring high-quality athletes here, but also making them want to stay? Because it seemed like for a long time we've had players stay for 1 or 2 years and then hire bigger schools come in and kind of farm them away from us.
Well, first of all, it starts with relationships. I'm a relationship guy, and that's where I go back. I want to know exactly who we're bringing in, what they're about, and I want them to truly know who I'm about. So it's a relationship process, right? And I think that's where it starts with. We're going to recruit great kids, right? We're going to recruit great young men into our program, and I'm very open, very honest, very direct, and I'm just not one of those guys that's going to beg and plead, because if I want them here more than they want to be here, it's probably not going to work. If they want to be here more than I want them here, it's probably not going to work, right? And so it's all about relationships, and then you got to do a great job recruiting. You better have a very good staff that can identify guys that are going to fit our style of play. And how are we going to do it? I think we're going to do it all the way across the board in terms of we're going to have we recruit with an inside-out philosophy. So certainly, we got to recruit the state of Utah very well in the surrounding region, and then branch out, to different states, obviously with high school kids, right? And then we're in a phenomenal junior college area, so certainly some of the junior college kids, and then Division I transfers. Last year, our first team All-League guy was a Division I transfer. He's a 2-time first team All-League guy, and he was only a junior, right? Then we had a junior college transfer, and Trey Birch Manning, who was a North Idaho Community College kid, who was a second-team All-League guy as a junior. Then we had another second-team All-League kid who was a high school recruit as a junior, and then an honorable mention guy in Tristan Simpson, who was only a high school kid as a sophomore. So I'm big into skill development, right? You earn their trust. You sweat with the players. You got to have sweat equity, I say. Yeah. So we just can't wait to hit the ground running.
Awesome. And then I actually noticed with South Dakota, you have a very high offense. You guys score a lot of points. When you come to recruitment, who do you look for? Do you look for players that fit your offense mainly, or do you look for players that are just the most talented players you can find?
Yes.
Yes. All of the above.
You do. It's a field thing. You certainly got to get. I want great people in our program, but it's all of the above, right? How tough are they, right? What's their attitude like? What's their body language like? Do they compete? You want gym rats. You want guys that love to be in the gym and have a sincere desire to be the best that they can be. So you look for all those intangible things, right? But in terms of playing, I mean, you got to have a certain level of athleticism to play at this level. But I love guys that are skilled. I love guys that can pass and catch and make decisions. The way we play, we don't run a million sets. I mean, we have a lot of set plays in, but we give our guys a lot of freedom. So with more freedom comes more responsibility. And we're huge into skill development, like I said earlier. So because of that, we allow our guys to be players, not robots where, hey, you need to go here, hey, you need to go there, oh, you got to go over here. And so you got to teach them how to play. And we've been very fortunate to identify those types of guys and allow them to go be the best they can be. And we've had guys that have been very successful overseas and on the professional level, and I think that's a big reason why. And so, but I like size, length, I like speed, and I like versatility. Guys that can play multiple positions, because quite frankly, the way we play, we kind of give guys, it's almost positionless basketball where, like our 5-man last year shot a lot of threes, right? And so we can really distort the game, so to speak, and put guys in a lot of different positions to have success.
Awesome. Now, to wrap it all up, Coach, I'm going to give you a list of words that resemble Cache Valley.
Oh, boy.
And I want you to give me the first word that comes to your mind when I say it, all right?
You're trying to trap me here.
Maybe. We'll look back on this, and you're like, oh, I can't believe I said that word for that one.
So I can only respond with one word?
One word or phrase.
That's almost impossible for me.
If you want to give a phrase, then I'll let you give a phrase. Okay. Yeah, the first word, stew.
Moral. Well, legend.
That's a good one, too.
Yeah.
Both work. Scotsman.
I'm not sure that's a word, but that's what I'm going with.
Okay. Herms.
Edwards. Just being honest. Right?
Basketball.
Basketball. Passion.
Cold.
Mountains.
Farming.
Agriculture. Did I say it right?
Aggies.
Aggies?
Yeah.
Legendary.
That was one way to wrap it up, Coach. I'm going to give you the floor a little bit. That's your camera right there. We'll let you say anything you want to Aggie Nation right now.
Well, I'm thrilled to be here. My family's super excited. I can't wait. I'm so proud and so excited and so pumped and stoked and every other adjective you can imagine to be the men's basketball coach at Utah State University. I understand the obligation that we have. I understand the responsibility. And I'm just looking forward to carrying on the rich tradition that we have in Aggie basketball. And I can't wait to fill that arena, the Spectrum. It's an incredible home court. And that spirit and atmosphere is electric. And we need all you fans out to help our guys. And let's build this thing together. And Herd, we're going to see you in full force every game. And anything I can do to help, we will be there, and our players. And we just can't wait to get this thing rolling. Go Aggies!
All right. Best of luck, Coach, to you and over the next few months. I'm sure you'll be busy. Back to you, Taylor.